Greetings, I'm Epictetus, and this is Epic Tech. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It is the dawn of a new day, and we've got a lot of things on the list. We got a lot of things to do today. So we're going to get right into it. That's right. So the first thing that we just have to dive right into is there is a new update. A brand new thing with more things. Lots of things. This is the automations update. And, oh, there it is. This is the automations update. And it has all kinds of things that we don't have access to because I don't yet have the automations DLC. I actually wanted to do a video first without the DLC because they always add in, Keen Software House makes Space Engineers, that is, always makes their updates with and without DLC content. So all of these things we'll have soon. But for right now, what we actually have is honestly some of the best parts. We now have the event controller, and we have something called a Willis duct. And yes, that is a reference to Bruce Willis from Die Hard, because he crawled through the ducts. And there's a couple of other smaller things that we have, and I'm trying to remember what they are. Oh, it's I think it's the 4x4 wheels, or is that in the DLC? I can't remember what's in the DLC and what's not. It's not, yeah, it's not in here. The saddle cockpit is new in the DLC, and there's some other things, mostly decorative. They tend to keep the DLC content decorative, and the real stuff that's going to make a big difference is non-DLC. If you have Space Engineers, you can now use it. So we are going to play around with both of the, at least those two things, the Willis ducts and the event controller. I'm excited about these, by the way. The event controllers are super fun. I played around with them in the beta, and there's all kinds of cool things we can do. One of the first things I'm going to do is automate this controller, or this connector using the controller. So let's jump right into that. Now, what I want to do is I want to make it so that I don't have to go through and hit a button to extend the pistons and then, you know, connect. I want the pistons to extend and connect all automatically from one button. Seem reasonable? Now, you could always do this with a programmable block, right? But there's a lot of setup to that. I don't know. I like the idea of not using scripting, especially because some versions of the game don't have scripting. So, you know, like I believe Xboxes and soon the PlayStation. They're not going to have scripting available. That's a kind of a PC only thing. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I don't have the game for any of those things, but yeah, let's dive right to that. You know what? I'm going to delay it just for a second. I know, I just lied to you. I said that was the first thing you were going to do, but I just realized I'm kind of running low on power. And the other thing I realized that I needed to do is get a med bay on board here. So I was looking around for a good spot to put it and realized that right here would probably be my best bet. So we've got a thing here. This is just a curved connector there, and I'm just going to pop in a three-way connector. This button right here. I was going to do this
low.
Right there. Yes, I know my energy's low. That's why I'm doing this. That's the whole reason for it. All right, so I need to do this, and then we're going to do this, and now that should connect all three sides. And I'm going to need more parts, but we can get to that in a second. And then I need to put in a med bay. There we go. And it's called a medical room, and I always forget that too. And I need interior plate, and that's another thing. It's just always Just always a thing. Always more things I need. Interior plates. Just gonna take. I broke the connection. I broke. Yes, of course I did. Because I always have to make things difficult on myself. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Pop that in there. I think I still have interior plate on me at this point. So now we should be able to pop into here. This. And we should be able to place that. Yes. Yes, we can. So now... So it's a little bit inconvenient. It's not horrible. And then we can use armor plating all the way around this, or solid blocks. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But we'll be able to make that work. Excellent. Now we have a medical room here, and of course I don't need it anymore because I hopped into the welder and that filled everything up. But we actually have something so that we can do what we need to do. And I'm kind of, man, now I'm double thinking. I think maybe if I were to rotate that 90 degrees, I'll play with it later. We'll deal with that later because you guys are eager. I mean, you guys are. What am I saying? You guys. I'm eager to play with some of these things. So event controllers. They are on the same. Nope. They are on the same flip through as the programmable block, the sensor, the timer block, custom turret controller, and the event controller. And they just like this. They look like that. And I'm gonna need a lot of these. So I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these and not have room for anything else. Or I could use a little trick that I've used before that I'm a big fan of. We're going to put in a hinge. And I like to have negative be down. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to remove that hinge part. And then I'm going to find this. I'm going to go hinge. I'm going to find this one. And this is going to be our SMBT server hinge. And I'm going to hit add small head. And now we've got a small head on this thing. So let's get this thing welded up. Oh, that's obnoxious. What happened? Why did that suddenly knock me out of my F9 mode? That is really annoying. I'm not sure exactly why. That must be a new quote-unquote feature. That's not what I want. But you know what? It's just the way it is, isn't it? There we go. So now we can pop into here, and we're gonna do velocity negative. Got this down to there. Maybe, maybe we'll actually lift it up just a little bit. Go like that. I'll lock that. Now we got ourselves a little bit of a space to work. So now we can either put in an event controller, or we can put in an event controller. Or if we want a programmable block, why am I having trouble with that today? We could put one here, or we could put one here. It leaves us so much more room to work. I mean, I could put 9 things on here, but I can actually put in more because they can extend out, up, down, all over the place. Cool, huh? So, let's put ourselves a little bit... Oh, even a custom turret controller. When did they make a small one of these? This isn't new, is it? I don't remember a small one before, but I've never really tried, I guess. Hey, that might be handy too. We'll find out later. All right, event controller though. This is the new guy. So we're gonna go ahead and stick this one right there. And I'm guessing we're gonna need a second one of those. So let's just go ahead and do that. Not sure if I like this angle. I think I actually will bring this down. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. And we're just gonna grab a control panel somewhere. Go find, there's event controller 1 and 2. One's in the middle and two's on the bottom. So let's see. We want to trigger off of an event. So I want to say that if connector is ready to lock, and then I can say SMBT connector. I can add that. If the SMBT connector is ready to lock, then select actions, SMBT connector should lock. Otherwise, do nothing. We don't want to do anything if it's not ready to lock. Okay. So now I know what you're thinking. Forget the unknown signal. Don't care. Better things to do right now. What you're thinking is, well, wait a minute. Then if you unlock it, it's going to lock again, right? But no, it won't. Because when I unlock this thing, I thought there was a time that you couldn't lock it. Darn it. No. It auto-locks, so I'll have to actually turn that thing off when I'm disconnecting it. Ooh, that might be a little more complicated. Okay, well, that's fine. We can deal with that. So when I want to disconnect it, I want it to unlock and power off. I want it to unlock and power off, and then I want to pull the pistons back. So I need like 4 things to happen. Well, if you've played Space Engineers for very long, then you know that there's a way to do that. It's called a timer block. That's on. I didn't realize that was on. That's okay. That works. So we now have 1 timer block. So we're going to call this SMBT, honestly, TB, for timer block. Undock. When this is triggered, the SMBT connector is going to unlock and then turn off, and then docking piston 1 is going to retract, docking piston 2 is going to retract. Yes? So if I trigger that now, didn't do anything. Oh! There's a 10-second delay on it. Ah, okay, I can turn off that delay. Okay. That does its thing. Good. But we need another timer block. So we need one for docking. Why did that start but not finish? That's weird. Now let me go get a computer. I can't get a computer because we're not connected. Just go grab it this way. I could... Oh, that's why it didn't finish. That makes sense. Okay, that's cool. It's all good. All right, timer block 2 is now going to be SMBT TB dock. And when it runs, I believe it is simply going to be the docking pistons are going to extend, and the connector is going to turn on. Now, I could say lock, but the problem is it won't lock unless it's able to lock. So as it's extending, it doesn't know when it can lock. Now, I could have extend all the way, but then, you know, we would have to still trigger that lock. That's where the event controller comes in. Okay, yes. Yes, so now, put this at 0, and then we're going to go ahead and hit trigger now. So you see it's now enabled, it's not red anymore, and the instant it can lock, it does lock. The other thing that I'm actually going to want to do is tell it to stop extending the pistons. So I need yet another timer block. This isn't too complicated. It's not bad. We'll put it right here. Timer block 3 is going to be SMBT TB lock, because this one's actions are SMBT BT connector, there we go, to lock, and then the docking pistons to reset velocity. It should make them 0. And then we just have to set the event controller. We're going to change the action from this to dock lock, trigger now. There's a lot going on there, I know. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get to where we can watch this happen. And I'm going to set up 2 timer blocks. I need dock and undock. Trigger now and trigger now. So, if I undock, does its thing, goes back to where it's supposed to be and stops. It's actually not going quite far enough. I need to fiddle with that. And then when I'm ready to dock it, I hit this button, and it's waiting for that to be within range. So it doesn't actually matter where the, how far away the docking port is. It just has to be within range. End of story. I don't have to try and guess or anything. As a matter of fact, I could sit here and kind of swing the ship around trying to find that. And as soon as it turns yellow for dockable or lockable, it'll instantly lock. Pretty cool, huh? And then I might... I'm probably not going to need... No, I don't need to do anything with that. It's all good. All right. Ooh, that's cool. That worked really well. And there's all kinds of other things we can do with these event controllers. Just a ton of things. We are not using this one yet, but there's no end to what you can do with these things. I'm gonna fill up my oxygen. I'm gonna rotate this thing. This is gonna drive me nuts. I can't. Okay. Yes. Yeah. This is much better. Being able to just walk right in there and boop, right like that. Okay. And then we'll play around with more of this. All right. So that is done. There's 2 other things I want to play with this episode. One is Willis vents, and I'm not really sure where I'm going to put those, but I have to. I mean, I have to. Let's see. Sorry, Willis ducts. I don't know why I always call them Willis vents. But let's grab some interior plate. And basically, the idea of a Willis duct is it's like a vent that you're crawling through, and it's designed so that you can't walk through it, but if you crouch down, you can get through it, which is pretty cool. So you can end up with spaces in your ship that you can only get to by crouching, and you can run them through the walls and that kind of thing. And there's just no purpose to it, but I love the idea. I don't know why, but I'm just absolutely in love with this concept. And so I want to find a place for them. I don't know where. Maybe through the ceiling? Oh, where's through the ceiling? So when we get to this part, now I also need to figure out how I'm going to attach maybe the front to the back with Willis vents. Maybe underneath? Maybe on top? Maybe on the side? Oh, maybe we're not even going to play with them at all this episode because I got to build more. But there's like, you can do it this way, you can do it this way, and then there's different shapes of them. So like there's a Willis duct with, where is this? Willis duct 2 has a vent on the top, which means that you can use it to ventilate, like pressurize an area without having to have like a big old vent stuck out of a wall somewhere. And then there's ones with lights in them. There's a corner. You could turn corners. And then, of course, the T-junction. the X junction, and then there's a ramp, so you can have from the Willis vent being on the bottom to being on the top of the block, you know. So, and then there's a duct that you can, like, a grate that you can place on it. You can actually use it for other things. So you can like block the like I could get some construction components. I mean, you can't place there. Okay, there's other places you can stick it. But there's also a new, there we go, conveyor cap that does the same kind of thing. So you can make it so that people can't get into to conveyors, which is pretty cool. Anyway, we might play with those, but the vent cap thing, the duct grate can block off the Willis vents. So we'll I don't know. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put them, but we're going to find a place for them, and it's going to be awesome. All right. Now, the very last thing we're going to do in this episode, because this is going to take a little longer than everything else, is we're going to move the crane. There were some great ideas, both for controlling the crane, as well as for like how to make it movable. Because right now it's pretty stuck there. We can't move it very easily. If I disconnect from this rotor, I can move everything out, you know, the rest of that, and go connect it to a different rotor, which is probably what I'm going to do. But there were some great ideas in the comments, including one that I'm not going to use verbatim. They said to use a merge block, which is a fabulous idea, but actually, instead of a merge block, I think we could get away with putting on underneath the rotor using a connector, and then we could move this thing all over the place. We'd be able to move it into, maybe we'd want to use a connector and a merge block, but we could basically move it around on the ship. So we could put it underneath, we could put it on top, and just make it an entire like modular system. Unfortunately, the way that I built this thing, there's not really a way to move this without disconnecting everything, so I'm gonna need to figure out a better way to do that part. But one way or another, I want this on the back section. And in order to put this on the back section, we need to actually have a back section to make, or to attach to. And then I also need to have a way to connect from the front to the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out. I'll take this out. Yep. And I'm going to put in, I want to do it this way, and then this one, do it like this. And then we're going to have to find a way to make these airtight, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. I can, on the inside here, open up. It's going to close again. Let's get some lights on, because I'm going to need that. Oh, yeah, I know a great way to do this. Light panel. I love light panels because they are actually airtight. So I can place that right there. We'll actually weld that with the rest. And so that makes that airtight. And then, yeah, I think that makes sense. And then I can do the same thing over here. Should be right. Conveyor junction there. So that should be all airtight into the inside, and we'll be able to disconnect it when we disconnect the merge blocks, and we can connect it and allow things to flow from front to back. And yeah, that should work really well. So I think what I'm going to do is right here, we're going to put in one of these guys. I do love these guys. T like that. And you might be, I don't know if I mentioned this before, you might be thinking to yourself, why am I putting in a T when I could just put in a conveyor junction and have, you know, be able to go 6 directions instead of 3? The reason is the larger your ship gets, the more connections you have, the more potential directions something can go, even if it's completely blocked off by another block, will actually slow down the processing, and it'll make your game more laggy, especially when you're using that conveyor system. If you're curious to see just how bad that can be, check out the Sexy series, and when we were made a huge platform. Actually, I'll put a card up. Right. Let's see. Let's put it up right now. And that video, we had so much trouble because we had just made a wall of conveyors. And so I've always been a little bit apprehensive of putting up conveyors when we don't need them. Anyway, I know people are thinking that. Might not say anything, but they're thinking it. And then I build on the bottom of this guy another one. Boy, that does become a little long, but I mean, good grief, the thing's long to begin with. Yes, I know it is. Here, let me use my brand new medical room. Yay, that only took a second. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do this. And it's not gonna let me put one here, is it? No, it's not. But that's okay. For now, I'm just gonna put on a couple of plates. Oop, oop. Now I can put a merge block here. That should be right, yeah. And then I'll put on a conveyor this way. So this will be the universal connector for the new arm system. And I'm going to need an advanced rotor. Just like before, I want 0 pointing this direction. Is that? Can't remember. Yeah, 0's pointing this direction. Stop flashing around. There we go. Get rid of that. You know, I'm holding Alt and trying to move my camera, and it is not working. If I hit F9, yeah, I can get back into spectator mode here. That's good. But I used to be able to then switch turret controllers, and it would keep my viewpoint, but no, now it puts me back into this view. So I'm going to go back to F9. There we go. Alright, I gotta rotate this thing again. Oh. Oh, you're fine. Stop whining. Alright. Is that all? Yeah, that's all done. Okay. So here comes the fun part. We're going to go grab this ship here. Stick that there. And let's grab this thing. It's going to be really awkward to fly for a while. Alright, we're locked into place. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. I turned off my thrusters because that was not doing good things. I turn on the thrusters. Yeah, it's immediately starting to shake all over the place. If I cut this free before I turn on those thrusters, this is going to fall and destroy everything. If I turn on those thrusters and I can't cut this thing free before it shakes itself into oblivion, everything's going to get destroyed. I have an idea. I have an idea. I'm going to try and do it really fast. Which is just a ridiculous idea. So I'm going to get I need a big red button. There's my big red button. We're going to stick this big red button right here. Yep. Just like that. And then, oh, I need to know this. Let's see. This one is going to be arm rotor 1, I believe. Arm rotor 1. Detach. That's what it's called. I'm going to drag that down there, and I'm going to hit detach. So when I press that button, it's going to detach the head. So what I'm going to try to do is turn on the thrusters, fly over and hit that button before it shakes itself apart. But I think it's going to be best if I quick save. Alright, thrust on. Big red button, detach. Look at that, it's working. Oh, that's beautiful. And there's no power to it, so it's like just kind of floating around. And this is the really hard part. Because I've got to try to connect this. That's going to just kind of... Oh, hey! Event controller. Hang on, which rotor is that? That's an advanced rotor on this. It's technically on that grid. It's still on the same grid, so I can... So it's the most recent advanced rotor. So event controller 2, just temporarily. If I look for advanced rotor 2, I guess has got to be it. So there's a rotor hinge attach, detach, but there isn't a way to tell it to just... There's no way to look and see if it's ready to attach. Okay, well, that's not going to work. Advanced rotor 2. Attach. Yeah. Yeah, that's not the first time that's happened to me. Okay. Reload. Okay. Looks like this was right before I got it into position. One thing I've noticed is the closer it is into position, the least likely it is to explode on contact. You know what? Maybe we'll take this big red button that we no longer need. Yeah. And we'll go ahead and put that right over here. We'll stand right next to it. Okay, okay. Sure, we'll put it like that. Will I be able to hit this button while seeing? Yeah. Advanced rotor 2. Attach. That's what the big red button's gonna do. It looks like it's barely lined up. Let's see if we can do any better. Well, you can't get much better than that. Alright. Quick save. At least we'll get a good view of the fireworks, right? Here we go. Oh boy. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good at all. Oh, hey, it stopped. Not sure why it stopped, but I'm not going to complain. Haha! Nothing exploded. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You know what? You can just lay down there. I just wanted to dock you. It's your own fault. I'm not reloading that. That was just silliness caused by yourself. Alright. So this all seems to have actually worked properly, which is shocking. So I take my big button again. Do you feel like I might have damaged something over here? Yeah. Is it going to fix anything? No? Okay. Really shocked at how little damage there was. This should work, so I'll need to remove these. Come on. Yeah. So, at any point in time in the future, we will be able to disconnect that merge block and that connector, and especially when we're out in 0G, it'll be pretty easy to just pick it up, move it, set it down. The merge block will automatically connect to whatever location we need it in, and then we just lock the connectors, and away we go. Yeah. That should work pretty darn well. Also, we now can start setting up some of this area. That's still connected. Okay. Oh, it's connected in the back, too. It's all good. For a second, I thought I'd just released that. And this should still work. Like, if I pop in here, I should be able to just kind of hit that button. Thank you very much. And then this should move. No? Yeah, I probably have to reset up these controllers. Yeah, there's no longer a selected tool. It lost that when we disconnected. So instead of resetting up these two turret controllers, I'm actually going to put them on here. I'm going to connect them in some way to this arm. And I might, just might, actually put the cockpit on the arm itself. And that'll give me a little bit more control, like visual, control. Visual control. I'll be able to sit right on this thing and see, see what we're welding. In theory. We'll see. We'll see how it works. But we'll play with that. I'll probably actually play with that in between episodes, just because that's a lot of fiddling and whatnot. And, yeah. I'll come back next episode and say, hey, look what I did. And I'm hoping, honestly, as soon as I get this DLC, I am hopping in here and I'm going to do some fun stuff. Because I am excited about some of the stuff in the DLC, too. Oh, and also let me know what you think, where you think I should put Willis ducts. I think I want to stick them in the walls in places. Or maybe I might do like take out some of these blocks, some of the armor blocks, and put vents under the floors so we don't have big ugly vents all over the place. I don't know. I'll play with the idea later. I just gotta be careful about how, can't vent to space. Anyway, I could jabber on all day, so I'm not going to. And I'll see you next time on Epic Tech, where we're gonna be doing more things with things. Probably more event controller things and duct things and other fun things. Didn't I say something about not going on and on?